Good morning, David.
Good morning.
Hello, David. Thanks for joining us from Nashville, I'm sure.
Yes, happy to be here. Really enjoy this program each year, and I've been looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll leave you in the hands of the great Jeff Hammond.
Well, I tell you right now, somebody is really spinning a line this early in the morning for me. How you doing, David?
Hey, doing well, Jeff. You're here in Nashville with the rest of the circus, getting ready to tie a bow around another NASCAR season.
Yeah, well, it's part of the job, they like to say, part of the job. Let's look back at 2023 and let's talk about what you think about the season. Obviously, no championships as far as the big three are concerned, but definitely some bright moments. What do you? I mean, you're the guy that has to do the assessment at the end of the season. So kind of like give us an overview, please.
Yeah, happy to, Jeff. Certainly, 2023 was a big year for the sport. Just stepping away from just Toyota, but this was the second year now with this next generation car, as we call it, the next gen. And I think the on-track product was better than it was in 2022, the year that we debuted it. And by and large, I think the racing was quite good. NASCAR, of course, is ever determined to improve upon it, because there was also some areas where the racing could be better. The short tracks, the road courses. I don't think we were as satisfied as we'd like to be. But looking at Toyota's performance, yes, you tend to focus on the box score, and you pointed out, we did not win either of the three big championships. But really, when you look at this format, the playoffs, the goal at the beginning of the year is to make it to the championship weekend in Phoenix. This is NASCAR's Super Bowl, and really, it's hard to be too critical when you consider that we had drivers in each of the three championship races there in Phoenix. The trucks with Corey Heim, John Hunter Nemechek in the Xfinity Series, and of course Christopher Bell in the Cup Series. And I tell you, one of the things I'm proudest of is in the Cup Series. This is 2023 was the 10th year of this new format, and Toyota remains the only manufacturer in the sport to send at least one driver to play in their Super Bowl, if you will, every single year. So unfortunately, mechanical issue, brake failure with Christopher kind of took him out of the contention fairly early on in the race. But there was a lot that we liked in 2023. 16 poles. Speed was not an issue in 2023 for Team Toyota. We seem to show up week in and week out with fast race cars. I think looking forward and looking where we need to improve our game is in the execution area, in pit lane execution and minimizing mistakes. And I think it just underscores how difficult it is to win championships at this level of sport. And it should be difficult. It should be something truly special. And it is.
No, and I think with going back and looking at this past season, interesting note I think I brought up was the fact in the last 2 years of this new season, new car and everything, you guys had 18 wins and 25 poles, as a manufacturer. So that shows consistency and the fact that you're building fast race cars and you're putting yourself in a position to contend for championships. And as you've already pointed out, that's the goal for every team. That's the thing, is if you feel like, okay, we need to make it into the championship playoffs, as far as that's concerned, number one. And then, like I say, the end goal, when you complete that task, is being end up at Phoenix or wherever they decide we're going to settle this. And as you've already said, that's a major accomplishment, because again, your competition is playing in the same game and they're using the same illustrations, and that's what they're trying to do to motivate, their people to be able to do this. I mean, this thing is it's a battle each and every year. We try to kind of push it down a little bit, but the manufacturer battle and titles are just equally as important to you as championships and wins to teams. I mean, it all goes hand in hand, but there is a certain amount of throw your chest out when you walk into the ballroom that on that night, as far as the championship is concerned. If you won the championship or if you're the manufactured champion, there's a certain amount of satisfaction.
No, for sure. There's all kinds of ways that you measure success, and this is why I love motorsports, because I get a report card, my team gets a report card every single week, and and you're never finished. You can never just kick your feet up and say, okay, we can cruise the rest of the way, because we know that Monday after Phoenix everybody goes back to work, and well and truly the off season is just pure chaos, because we're all scrambling to make sure that we show up at the beach in Daytona, ready for the biggest race of the year, the Daytona 500, and that's what our focus is right now. And of course, Jeff, we've got made a big announcement this past week with the launch of our brand new Camry for 2024.
Now the car is beautiful. I mean, it looks awesome. I mean, you guys are always great about bringing something to the racetrack that looks fast before ever rolls out there on the track. I mean, the car is awesome looking, and reading about the areas that you kind of focused in on, and I think folks need to understand that didn't happen overnight. I mean, that's been a work in progress for how long? I mean, maybe 2 years ago it was probably on the drawing board, and then you got to go through getting the drawings like you want them, then you got to make that into a real product. I mean, and the testing that goes into that is second to none.
No, it's a major endeavor, and I have to say, for us, for one of the three OEMs, I think one of the best things that NASCAR and our OEM consortium did was back in 2020 or 2013, 10 years ago, is when the advent of what we refer to as the Gen 6 philosophy, and that is, we want to race what we sell in the showrooms, because Jeff, if you remember, 10, 15 years ago, the cars had kind of devolved into this amorphous shape that was principally decal engineered into Camrys and Fords and Chevrolets, and that it was disingenuous. So I love the fact that Toyota, Ford, and Chevrolet, Rushbrook, Campbell, and I, we could all sit down and say, listen, let's agree, let's figure out how we do it and serve up the solution to NASCAR. And that's exactly what we did. We said we want to incorporate real design elements into our race cars. Let's create a box, performance parameters that we have to stay within for the purposes of parity, but do it in such a way that we can incorporate real design elements. So the agreement that we have with NASCAR and the commitment that NASCAR has with us is, as we update and evolve the cars that we sell and build in our factory in Georgetown, Kentucky, the Camry, that the race cars will follow. And I tell you, it's to the point where, I mean, NASCAR takes it seriously. left to our own devices, Jeff, we would focus purely on performance, and we throw a little bit of styling in there, right? Because we our measure is the wind tunnel, but
Yeah.
but again, it has to be true to the spirit of what we agreed to, and literally we have we had this confidential session with NASCAR where we fly them out to Ann Arbor, Michigan, to our design studio, and they look at a pre-production prototype of what we're going to be selling and compare that to what we have in the wind tunnel, and they have to sign off on it. So that, again, that process started a year plus ago, and I tell you, we have a really special partner in Kelty Design. Kelty Design is the in-house design studio for Toyota. They have a Southern California office, just a stone's throw away from TRD's headquarters in Newport Beach. And we work with their stylists hand in hand in making sure that we build a car that's representative of the Camry XSE that's going to be sold, and it's going to show up in dealerships next spring, but that also performs, and that we have the confidence that it performs on the racetrack. And it's this dance, almost a negotiation we do with the stylist to make sure that both objectives are achieved. And what I'm super proud of and excited about is this Camry that we're going to take to the racetrack in Daytona is one of the best cars we've ever had in the wind tunnel. And of course the styling of it mirrors what our fans and the consumers are going to see in the Toyota dealerships next spring.
Well, and I think, again, that's going back to the old philosophy that's always been around since the inception of racing and manufacturers working together. What wins on Sunday or Saturday, sells on Monday. And, going through the showroom now, and I think that's one thing that, we've learned the hard way, is how many times we got into battles between Ford and Chevrolet before Toyota was even around, and even Chrysler. Trying to build something that go through the showroom, but necessarily the stylish over at Chevrolet, they went this direction, Ford went this way. One of them looked like a sleek airplane, but the other one looked like a football, and the football was kicking the fool out of the airplane. So it's funny what we've had to do, but I applaud, and I think we've discussed this before, but the willingness and the understanding how you all can win, all three manufacturers coming together, because NASCAR was going to make the playing field level, and if we could work together, then we can not only be competitive on the racetrack, but we'll also be competitive in the showroom. And I think that I applaud y'all for that. And is anything else going to change as far as coming up? I know you got the Supra and the Xfinity Series still racing the old reliable Tundra right at the moment. But anything going on in those series that you want to talk about as far as you're concerned? Because I really want to get into some of your teams here in a minute also.
Yeah. Well, again, you mentioned the GR Supra that will continue racing in the Xfinity Series, and our Tundra that started 20 years ago. This is hard to believe, Jeff, but it was 2000. You remember 2004 when we first turned a wheel on the racetrack and got that first win, that first National Series win in Michigan with Travis Quapple in our Tundra in 2004. So we're super proud to have, and I think we're the only OEM that have three different makes of vehicle across the three different national series in NASCAR. So yeah, no changes on the truck or the Xfinity side for 2024.
Like I said, I wanted to touch on your team situation. Since I've talked with you, the addition of Legacy this upcoming season, you're adding two more teams to the Toyota camp, drivers Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek. And I gotta at least ask, I mean, how does it feel to have Jimmy Johnson associated with your organization now, because there again, everybody looks at him as you think he's branded. It kind of like the old Yellowstone deal. You open his shirt up, you're going to see a bow tie, branded on him somewhere. But you got him. So I mean, how is that working out?
Well, I tell you first, Jeff, it's extremely humbling to imagine that Jimmy Johnson is joining our team, and it I was just looking at the calendar. It was less than a year ago. It was literally December of last year when pretty much out of the blue, Jimmy reached out to me and said he wanted to come out to Southern California and have dinner. I knew Jimmy, but I didn't have a relationship with him. It was very casual, garage, you nod your head and like you have with everyone there. Right. But he flew out to our headquarters, and we had a quiet dinner one night, the first week of December. And Jeff, I tell you what, by the end of that dinner, I said to myself and the small team that we had there, that this is somebody that we want to go racing with. Jimmy, there's, in terms of character, integrity, he's a special person. Forget about everything he's done in the world of motorsport. He's just a good person. And I say all the time that, it might sound like an obvious statement, but you like to do business with people that you like. You like to do business with people that share your values. And so, Jimmy painted a picture very quickly that suggested we wanted to consider how we might add his organization to our lineup. Because Jeff, December, last December, we weren't planning, we were, again, we're always open to growing and looking for the right partners. But you've heard me say time and time again that our mantra is quality over quantity, right? Since the time we've been in the sport, we've never had, quote unquote, market share in terms of the numbers of cars. And and I used to think that we needed to have it, but then I came to understand that actually the reverse works pretty well. As long as you have quality organizations, having fewer teams, fewer cars allows us as a manufacturer to kind of mass our resources across fewer cars. And there are years where every one of our teams have won multiple races. Now that's hard to do. This year, I think we had 5 of 6 of our drivers win multiple races. So looking at Legacy Motor Club, looking at and hearing his partner, Maury Gallagher, their vision of growing that organization from what was a championship caliber truck team, because it really evolved from GMS racing, right? And listen to the commitment that they made to us in terms of recruiting and building and investing to race at the highest levels. We agreed that this would be a good fit for Team Toyota. And you mentioned their drivers. Of course, Eric Jones was a Truck Series champion with us back in the day. Eric drove for Joe Gibbs Racing, had a lot of success, and we look forward to having him and his family back in a Toyota. And of course, John Hunter Nemechek, we've been working with him for a few years, absolutely love him and his family, and love the fact that we have now a seat in the Cup Series to provide one of the drivers that we've invested in back when he was racing trucks with Kyle Busch Motorsports, and of course Xfinity with Joe Gibbs Racing. because, you know, when it comes to, as you know, the investment we make in a lot of these young drivers, it's a slippery slope, because if you don't have seats to keep them in, you know, you can lose them. So
Right.
love the fact again that we've got a seat for John Hunter, and having him on board, having his experience with Toyota will help that transition to 2024.
Let me ask you one other question, and as it pertains, and you talk about seats, and I know again that chess game is played at a very high level, year in and year out. But in looking at, you know, your owner's points and understanding that normally, I said a normal field is like 36 in the Cup Series currently. Now, obviously Daytona and certain other racetracks, there will be full fields. But with that being said, I know that 2311 and along with Legacy, they have run some one-offs out of their camps. Is that something that, you know, you're going to continue to embrace? And is that a avenue for, you know, for drivers from outside the United States, as well as maybe potential, you know, up and coming people that, you know, is it kind of like a test seat? And, you know, have y'all got that kind of like factored into the program here?
We absolutely do, Jeff. We actually, our agreements and our relationships with both 2311 and Legacy provide for their ability on a intentional basis, planned out ahead, to run you know, a third car here or there. And one, you know, part of the attraction that we have with both those organizations is they still have room to grow. You know, underneath the, you know, the current rules, of course, they could run as many as 4 cars under roof if they choose to. So that's not lost on any of us. We have the mutual commitment to only do that, only add to those organizations when all of the parts and pieces are there, of sponsorship and people, drivers, right? But 100%, it gives us an opportunity to run some drivers, to create some interest. We had a terrific experience twice last year. 2311, in both cases, the 500, they ran Travis Pastrana, and Travis wasn't locked into the race. He had to qualify his way in, so there was a lot of excitement around that. And then during the course of the race as well, he acquitted himself quite well. And of course, he is a global personality. Exactly. And certainly that, you know, him participating put more eyeballs on our sport, and that was, you know, that was a great thing. Later on in the year, I actually flew to France and attended the 100th anniversary of Le Mans. And while I was there, announced that Kamui Kobayashi, our world champion endurance driver, would be driving a Toyota Camry at the Indianapolis road course for 2311. Mm-hmm. And while Kamui isn't very well known in the US, in Japan and in other Asian countries, in Europe, he's a very popular driver. And so we had a great time with Kamui, having him run there in Indianapolis, and stay tuned for next year. We've got a couple 3 drivers that we're
you
talking
got cards
to.
up your sleeve, don't you? I
Well,
see all that
you know
big
what?
smile right there. Yeah,
you have to plan in advance, and I
yeah.
teased this out. I teased this out earlier, but there will be a time. There will be a time where you are going to see 7-time champion, you know, Chevrolet icon, Jimmy Johnson, racing a Toyota Camry. And
I wouldn't have believed you to put that deal together if you didn't get him to commit at least running a race, if not more races than just one. But no, that right there would be something that would be not very, how would you say, tactically smart.
Well, I appreciate and certainly respect that there'll be some fans not too thrilled about that, but as well as I do that, in the end, a lot of the fans' opinion are shaped around those drivers and those personalities. And the fact is that we know as well that being associated with somebody like Jimmy and the caliber of person that he is, that reflects on our brand. And I'm proud. I'll be extremely proud. You won't be able to wipe the grin off my face when I see him in a Toyota Camry, because back in the day, Jeff, I was chasing Ivan Stewart down the Baja Peninsula when Jimmy Johnson, this little snot-nosed teenager, was racing off-road trucks in Southern California, right? And there were Chevrolets. I'll never forget.
I know. But I think that's the beauty of what is happening right now, is that we're seeing another page being turned in the history book. And I think last year's 75th, celebration of NASCAR as a whole. Let's start the next 75 with this announcement that Jimmy's going to be in a Toyota after, an illustrious career in Chevrolet. But Dave, it's always great to speak with you, because again, you're the man on the know, and I love the way you keep us updated. And right now I see Judy and Francis is here, and they're telling the kids we got to come in. It's time for dinner.
Hey, I appreciate it, Jeff.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Registering on EPARTRADE is easy. To start, click on the Join for Free button on the homepage. First, search your company to see if it's already in our database. If you see your company on the list, click on it to select it. Then, choose Claim Company if you are one of the decision makers, an owner, marketing person, or main company contact. Or choose Join Company if you are an employee, and press Continue. If you couldn't find your company in our database, select Register a New Company. On the following page, fill out your name, email, phone number, job title, and choose a secure password. If you chose Register a New Company, you'll need to choose your business type. Select Supplier if you're looking to display products or services and connect with buyers. Choose Racing Business if you're looking to source new parts and connect with suppliers. Choose Race Team if you own or are a member of a professional race team. Then, enter your company name. Please provide a website, Facebook page, or LinkedIn if you have one, and choose to either claim or join the company. You can view and agree to our terms of use here. If you'd like to receive our weekly newsletter, choose Accept. Finally, click Register Now and your registration will be submitted for approval. An email will be sent to your inbox. Please confirm your email address and you will be approved shortly. Welcome to EPARTRADE.